Jimmy. And smoke on loud. I got perfect attendance. I ran that word to.
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to do, I guess it's a story time. I'm not really sure. But anyways, I've been telling you guys for the longest. Then I'm going to tell you guys the story time of when I got 2 years of my life taken away due to my failures, I guess I could say. So let's get this started, because if I don't tell this story now, I never will. And the story times that I have coming up, you guys will never understand why they happened. So let's get this video started. As you guys know, I am 28 years old and I do not do any more of these activities. But honestly, I do still hang around the people I used to hang around when I was doing these activities. So, it's some vocabularies you might hear me say throughout this video. Like making runs, making drops, things like that. So, if you guys don't know, like I said, I'm 28. I have been staying probably 2 to 3 different states. And the story I'm about to tell you, my parents know half of what's going on, but not what's all going on. Because even though I chose this lifestyle, I knew I never wanted my parents to get the real idea of what was going on. So, I started I started learning the ropes of dealing when I was going on 15. So this was probably 2, maybe 3 weeks before my birthday, my 15th birthday, and I had a lot of things planned for my birthday. And you know me, when I plan things, they usually don't go the way they plan. And that's one reason why I stopped planning. But anyways, this time I had a cookout planned at my godparents' house. Because where we stayed, the yard was not big enough for cars. It was not big enough for people to actually be outside. Because, you know, my birthday is like in the summertime. So we all was at my godparents' house. It was me, the crew, friends from school, family members. It was a lot of people. So, it did go as planned. Matter of fact, the whole day went as planned. But, so at the time, my godfather, he was dealing, and I really didn't know what he was doing because he always hid it from us. But one day he said that it was time for me to learn the ropes. And I'm like, okay, learn what ropes? Like, at first I knew what he was talking about. But then I'm like, okay, he can't teach me that because he always hid it from us. So, the day came to it, which it was like a couple of weeks. I didn't want to say it was the same day of my birthday party because I knew it wasn't. I want to say the weekend after my birthday. He sat me and my god brother down and taught us everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. And At the time, my godfather was in a gang. Majority of the people I grew up around or raised up around was in a gang. So maybe that's the reason why a lot of people think I am in a gang myself, which I'm not. And people don't believe it. So, I don't know. I really don't have the whole female mindset of being girly. I guess that's what um, kind of throws everybody off because I feel like I have two mindsets. One is a girl, then one is a dude. But sometimes when it comes to certain situations, I use my dude mindset, and people think I am in a gang for some reason. I don't know. But anyways, that weekend was the weekend that changed everything for me. Um, it changed the way I moved. It changed the way I trusted people. It changed my whole mindset. And I believe that weekend is the weekend that made me who I am today. So, I want to say probably a month. I want to say mid-September is when I said I want to try it. I want to go out, be independent, and try it. And you guys, this was the wrong time to try to be independent. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Trying to be independent and trying to sail at the same time. But one thing my godfather did teach me, if you're going to start selling, you have to have your own crew. So I knew from the start it was going to be me, my god brother, and some of my friends and some of his friends. So that's what the crew was. Um, but at the time, you guys, I had this friend. She was a stud. And if you guys don't know, it's kind of the manly female of a lesbian couple. And matter of fact, we're still friends to this day. Um, that's still my right hand. So, she decided she wanted to be in it with me. So, moving along, um, to the point to where I made my first drop. When I made my first drop, you go into these cold abandoned buildings, and then you pick up and then you drop off and do all these, and you sit down with a lot of people. Um, and these people have to build a bond with you to actually have a trust with you. And in this game, trust, loyalty, and respect goes a long way. And that's basically what I live my life off now. Trust, respect, and loyalty. I don't care if it's in a relationship, a friendship, a workship, whatever it is. That's what I'm living my life on. Um, so, I am going on 16. My first drop, it was the whole adrenaline rush, the whole respect thing, the whole trust thing. Um, it was a whole vibe. So I'm like, this is fun. So I continue to do it. And I want to say when I turned 17, 18, this is when I decided to make my first big move. And my godfather always taught me, if you're going to step out, never tell people your moves. Um, and I never did. So this is when I knew from Jump Street that you can't trust everybody. So at this point, we was going to make a drop to County Line. And if you guys don't know, County Line is basically the line that separates Mississippi and Alabama. And if you're not careful, you can get into deep trouble. Um, so it was a Saturday. I'll never forget. It was like 8:30 in the morning. Um, we was getting ready, getting prepped, getting everything ready to actually make this move. Um, it was me, a couple of other people, and then my right hand. So we was driving. We made it to county line. We made the drop. I picked up whatever I had to pick up, and I gave whatever I had to give, and then we was on our way back. Everything was smooth, playing music, all of this stuff, blase, blase. Um, I want to say probably an hour in the drive on the way back. Um, that's when I noticed a cop car following us. Not really so pressed on cops following us. Because where I stay, if you're not familiar with Mississippi, but where I stay, cops follow you a lot. So if you go probably 5 miles over the speed limit, um, they gonna stop you. Okay? So I wasn't so pressed on that because I was used to it. Um, so I was driving. And I want to say like an hour into the drive. Um, at this time, probably an hour and 10 minutes in the drive. That's when the cop pulled us over. Now at this time, I'm thinking to myself, we don't really have nothing but a load of cash. So he really not going to press so hard on this situation. These are the thoughts going on in my head. So, and then I'm happy because everybody that had drugs in the car, they was like completely gone by the time we was on our way back. So if it was going to happen, the only thing he could have pulled us out and searched us for is because of the smell in the car. That's the only thing. So anyways, the cop comes up to the car. He asks for a license, registrations, insurance, all of the good works. And then he goes to check my license, which at the time my license was good. Because I just had got my license when I was 16 going on 17. And so I just had received my license. So I'm pretty sure they was good. Um, so, then he comes back to the car, and at this time the other cop gets out the car. So, when the other cops get out the car, he goes to the passenger side. When he goes to the passenger side, that's when he start picking on the window for my right hand to let down her window. So she does. Then he asks for her license. Now at the time she had license, but they were suspended. So that's one reason why she never drove. Another thing, he went to the back, picked on the window, and asked for their licensing. And at the time, I think one of them was on probation, if I'm not sure. If I'm not sure. At the time, was he on probation? I'm thinking he was, or maybe it was like a couple months after that. But for story's sake, I'm just gonna say he was on probation, but not. I think he was getting off probation though, honestly, because he was a street runner. And when I say he was a street runner, he always was in jail. He was always in trouble, but he was always the one that was the most loyal. And I respected him for that. So the police officers go back to check everybody's license. At this time, I had my license, so I'm like, okay, that didn't make sense. But now that I'm thinking back on it, maybe it did make sense. But anyways, he was checking license, and I mean, it took them forever. I'm pretty sure we was on the side of the road for a good 35 minutes. No capping. It was a good 35 minutes. So we was just sitting there, just talking, just rambling on. And the woulda, coulda, shoulda. So they come back to the car, and I mean, both of them come back to the car. Then at this time, another backup car comes. So I'm thinking at this point, oh, we going to jail, or they finna pull everybody out and check us. So the first police that came and got my license, he asked for the dude that was sitting behind me to step out. And then I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Because at the time, me and him, we just received our license. So it shouldn't be the fact that he has to get out. Because I'm pretty sure his license was good. Um, so they pulled him out the car. And I'm asking the police why. Like, why do we need to get out the car? Why do he need to get out the car? So this when the police says, be quiet, I'm doing my job. And at the time, this was way before the whole police brutality thing ever came about. So I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, something has to be wrong. Because for one, they haven't told everybody to get out yet. They just checking us one by one. And then he'll put us back in the car, which really to this day don't make sense to me. So when it came to searching me in my right hand, it was a woman lawyer, a police officer out there. She checks us, and then she tells us to get back in the car. So then we just sitting there waiting. Then I'm like, what are we waiting for? Like, we could have been gone. You done pulled everybody out. You done checked everything except for the car. You done checked everybody. So now what we're waiting for. So then all of a sudden I see another police pull up, and it was the narcotics. And if you guys know, the narcotics is the ones that be in the solid black SUVs. Really doesn't, honest, really don't do nothing. Okay? To me, I really don't see them doing nothing but just riding around. So they pull up, and I'm like, oh shit, somebody done snitched on us. I knew right then and there it was some snitches. So then, we go on and on. And then when the narcs get out of the car, they pull us out. They pull us out the car. And then the police says, well, we searched them, we didn't find anything. So then that's when they stripped the car. I mean, they stripped it. Like, they was the dogs. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, K9, they bring dogs, let them check for drugs. Oh, no, not this time. Narcotics, I mean, they acted like they was the dogs. They searched everything, everywhere. I'm pretty sure if they found the seed in the car, they was going to take us to jail. That's just how deep they searched. So, they searching the car. Now, mind you, the money that we just received was in the trunk. So, they searching the car. They never searched the trunk. Never. So, then, they let us go. Okay. So, we get back to Mississippi. By this time, we in Mississippi. I'm probably 30, 45 minutes from my godparents' house. Now, at this time, I'm on the phone, and I'm telling my goddad what happened. I'm telling him everybody's straight. We still got the package. Everything went as planned, except for the police drop. Okay. So, he said that's me. Like, he said the way it went down, that means somebody snitched on us. So, we was headed, I told him I'm headed back to the house, which I was. So, then all of a sudden, I want to say the same police officer, they stopped us again. And we was, at this time, probably 25, 30 minutes away from the house. He stops us again, except for pulling everybody out the car this time. I'm just asking, like, why you keep stopping us? What is the issue at this point? because you searched everybody, you searched the car, everything. You did that. So what's the issue now? So then that's when he says we have to check the trunk. So I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, why you didn't do that when you first stopped us? So he said we forgot. So I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. So then I get out, because at the time I didn't have a car that had the little button in it to where it just pops up automatically. I didn't have that. I had one of those cars where you have to get out with the key and open the trunk that way. And he checked the trunk. And the first thing he grabbed was the duffel bag. And it went downhill from there. Because when he grabbed that duffel bag, you guys, I'm telling you, he ripped it off like he knew exactly what was going to be in there. He knew exactly how much it was without even counting. He knew exactly where we came from. He knew exactly, like, it hit right on tip. Like, the time table was, it was epic. You get what I'm saying? So, at this point, I'm confused. And then that's when my right hand jumped out the car. And she said, what happened? Like, what's going on? So I was telling her that he forgot to check the trunk, blase, blase. At this time, this is when he's calling for backup, because I guess he thought that this 165-pound girl was going to jump on him. So he's calling for backup. And, so when the other car came, this is when everybody else that pulled us over the first time, everybody else showed up. And this is when NARC came through, like, they just found kilos in the back of the car. But they didn't. It was cash. So this is when they took everybody out and they charged everybody. And it was Trump charges, because they charged us with possession, which we didn't possess nothing but money. And we didn't have any drugs on us, so I knew that was false. And then they charged us with intent to sell, which is crazy because you didn't see us selling anything, we just had money. And then they also charged us with, like, no seat belts. They charged us with speeding. They charged us with all kind of stuff. And I mean, it wasn't just me. Like, with the speeding and all of that stuff, it should have been charged to just me, but it wasn't. It was charged to everybody. So that's when I first got my 6 months. My 6 months of jail. Now, mind you guys, this the weekend. So, you know, most times the weekend comes with, most time the weekend gonna come with, you have to sit in jail and wait for the judge to come and see you on Monday. So at this time, this is when we all went to jail. And you know, girls go one, then boys go other. But we all made a call to my godfather. We had to, because he would not believe me. So I had to make sure everybody either called the people who knew they was doing it or my godfather. Because if one of us didn't get him, I know the other one would. So me, my right hand, and the other dude, he called my godfather. And then the other two people that was in the car, they called their parents. Because I'm pretty sure their parents knew what they was doing, because they did have, they was in trouble previously. But it wasn't for drugs. It was for something else. But anyways, it was just crazy. And that's when I seen the judge, and it was my first time. And I got 6 months. And then I had one month of probation. So, and then my right hand had 6 months and 2 months of probation. And then the 3 guys that was at the back, they all got a year probation. And then the other guy who was getting off probation, he had, I think, 3 or 4 years of probation added on to the couple of days he had left. So some of us did time and some of us didn't. So me and my right hand, we both got 6 months of jail. The other ones just got probation, and the other dude, I think he got more than 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, we all had jail time. We all had probation. That was a given. So everybody was out. This time, everybody was out of jail. Everybody was just on probation. So I'm thinking to myself, the first thing I need to do is find out who snitched. That's what, ever since I was in jail, this was my thoughts. I have to find out who snitched. So we was chilling one day, and then all of a sudden, let's just say the neighborhood drunk start running his mouth. He started saying, yeah, it was an old boy. He was on the phone. He was telling me that, he was telling everybody that y'all was going to make a run. And, I was wondering why you didn't ask me to go. And I'm thinking to myself, making a run where? And he said that, everybody was telling him not to tell our business because it was our business. So anyways, to cut that story short, we found out who was running around telling and why the police showed up when they did and all this stuff. And now that I think about it, maybe that's the reason why he kept calling, asking our location. Maybe that's the reason why he did that. But I must say that issue was taken care of. So you guys know when you start a habit, it becomes one of those habits that you get addicted to. And I feel like that's what I did. I was addicted to it. So, I want to say a couple of months after we got out, after I got off probation, I was probably, at this time, I was going on 20, I want to say. 2021, that's when I started back. And I'm like, bro, I have to start back. So that's when I did. At this time, I started talking to someone. And, I must say, I turned my back on everybody, including the person I was talking to at the time. This is one of the time, I must admit, I was grinding, you guys. I didn't care who I hurt. I didn't care, if we was friends or not. I just didn't care. From that point on, I didn't trust nobody. And this is when I had to sit the crew down and let some of them go. Some of them stayed. And I knew I wanted to make big moves, so I had to have a team behind me that I could trust. And we had many ways that we tested their trust. Okay. And I believe today is the reason why then is the reason why I still have these people around me today. Because I know I trust them. And yes, I must admit, I trust them with my life because we've been through hell and back. So moving on, this is when I got 18 months and I knew everything was gonna change. So this is the time I got out of jail. Everybody got out of probation. We went directly out of probation fully. Um, but I was at the time. Me and my right hand was. We was out of probation. Um, I'm thinking even the dude that was sitting behind me was on probation, but the other two wasn't. So I'm like, we have to start again. But this time, instead of making small drops, we're gonna make bigger drops. Bigger drops come with bigger responsibilities. Bigger responsibilities come with bigger payouts. So, and I knew at the time, since the person snitched on us, we had to change cars. So this is when I bought my truck out of somebody's yard. So that white car, story time I told you guys, it was probably the second vehicle I bought. But it was the first vehicle I bought off the lot. So it was another day. It was just going all smooth and stuff. And this is how you know it's time to give the lifestyle up. When you just turn your back on your family. And this is when I decided to move to Atlanta. So I moved to Atlanta. And this is when my god sister had enlisted into the army. And that took everything out of me. Because she was actually my sister. I didn't consider her my god sister. She was actually the person I called when I needed help, the person I called when I needed advice, the person I called to just hang out with. The only person I actually felt like I could trust. And then that's sad because the person I was with, I barely trusted them. So I'm thinking to myself, why was you with them? So when they told me she enlisted to the army, that broke my heart because one, she always told me in everything I did, she would never leave me. And even though she really didn't leave me, she just wanted the life for herself, I felt like she lied to me. And I just, that would turn me real cold-hearted against people. So then, after that, I'm like, fuck it, I'm going back to the streets. So this is when I went back to the streets heavy, you guys. And I want to tell you, 6 months within the game, I was still moving weight heavy. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing. Couldn't nobody say nothing to me to actually get me to slow down. At this time, I was in Atlanta making moves. And that's the reason why mostly when I'm with people or in a relationship, people always say, I want to go to Atlanta. It's not easy for me to go back to Atlanta. For one, Atlanta has bad memories for me. For two, Atlanta is where I did, that's my stepping ground. That's where I did most of my dirt. And I feel like if I ever get stopped again today in Atlanta, it would be nothing for me. It's nothing for them to lock me up. And that's just it. Even though now my records are clean, and I might do a story time of that, I might not. Even though now my records are clean, I still can't go to Atlanta and not think about getting stopped by police. Because if I get stopped, it's no coming back. It's they are not going to let me go. So when people tell me that they want to go to Atlanta for vacation or they want to go to stay, I can't. Not that I won't. I don't want to always stay in some place where I feel like I have to be on edge all the time. So anyways, this is when I got locked up for like a week or so. And this was public disturbance and something else. But I know I got locked up for a week in Atlanta. And then when I got out that week, this is when my sister told me that she was going to be stationed in Texas. Now, at the time, me and my sister, we was on bad terms. But when she did call, we did talk and all this stuff. And I understood where she was coming from, so we got back 8-1, I guess you could say. So, me, my right hand, a couple of more people that was in my crew, we all decided to drop everything in Atlanta, cut ties with Atlanta, get everything moved, and we all decided to go to Texas. Now, in Texas, I've stayed in Dallas, I stayed in Austin, I stayed in Brown, I stayed San Antonio, I stayed everywhere in Texas, and that's only because I made moves in Texas. So, this is when I decided to settle down and, try to go straight and narrow. Leave the drugs alone. So, this is when I first decided to actually finish school, and all of this stuff. Now at the time before you guys even asked me, I still stayed in communication with my parents, and I still stayed in communication with my godparents. But my birth parents never knew what was going on, because my dad always had this saying, what you do in the streets, don't bring it to my house. So I knew if I came home, I knew the streets was coming home with me. So I feel like that's one reason why I never came home to actually stay with my parents full time. Now, the first time when I did get out of a jail, I did come home and stay with my parents for like a couple of weeks. But then I'm like, can't do it. The streets called me. So that's when I left. And that's when I went on to Atlanta. And then, so now we're in Texas. And Texas is where I did majority of my time. So I was chilling in Texas. So, this is when I decided, sit back, peep the streets, how they running, all of this stuff. Just pay attention to everybody moves and all of this stuff. And honestly, I still do that today. I pay attention to people moves. I just watch people calculations, if that makes sense. So at the time I was making a lot of drops. These drops was probably not worth much. At the most, I probably was bringing in probably 10 bands at a time, and that's not big at all. So, I'm like, it has to be bigger moves. So, at this point in time, this is when I decided to go all out, get lawyers, pay big, heavy lawyer fees, and all of this stuff. Have accountants, I made this business into a business, if that makes sense. So, everything came together, and this is when my life changed for the worse. And I knew I either had to change my lifestyle or I was going to die in the streets. So, this is when I received my 17 weeks of my 17, not weeks, my bad, you guys. My 17 months of jail. So, and it makes me mad to this day because I felt like you could put all your trust in somebody and they still would screw you over. So, this is when I was doing big drops. And at this time, when I say big drops, I was bringing in 5, 10,000. No, I was bringing in 500,000, probably 750 every month. Probably every 2 weeks at the most. But this is when I was making major drops, you guys. And these major drops landed me. I honestly, I don't even feel like it was the drops that landed me in jail. I feel like it's the so-called people I trusted that landed me in jail. But one day I woke up and I'm thinking to myself, I shouldn't do a drop today because I just didn't feel comfortable for some reason. And knowing what I know now, I knew why I felt the way I felt. So I'm just saying to myself, I just don't feel like doing a drop. But then my right hand says, we don't have to do a drop today. We can just go ride today. And honestly, I should have just did that and stopped listening to the people I was hanging with. Because she was right. We should have just went elsewhere. So I was listening to other people and I'm like, no, we might as well go make it since we already got it. We already got the product, so we might as well make the drop. So we was chilling. This is when I decided it's time to make a drop. It was probably a Thursday. I want to say Thursday, Friday, somewhere along with there. And I was in Austin, Texas. We was just driving. I made a drop, and then I noticed this car was following us. And I really didn't tell everybody else because I'm just thinking to myself, girl, you paranoid. So I was driving, then I made another drop. And then I was driving, got to the last drop. And this is when the car that was following us for a long time turned on blue lights. And I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck I missed the lights? Like, where was they hiding it? It was a black Mustang. It was all blacked out, you guys. So, I can't understand, like, I didn't know that it was a police officer. So, I want to say probably a couple of miles down the road, the police officer pulled us over. But at the time, I'm thinking, man, I can outrun this dude. But then I'm like, I can't do that because, for one, where are you going to go if you outrun him? Because at the time, I really didn't know nobody in Austin that had a house except for my god sister. And I didn't want to bring all of that chaos to her house. But at the time, I feel like she knew what I was doing. She just didn't want it in her house, and I respected that. But we got pulled over, and they checked everything. I mean, they pulled us out. They put us in handcuffs before they even checked everything, and then they talking about it's for our protection. They always say that bull crap, but I knew I was going back to jail because at the time we haven't even made the last drop yet, and it was loads of cash in the bag, and we haven't made a drop yet, and we still have like a lot of stuff to drop. So when we got pulled over, it was me, my right hand, two of the guys that got pulled over the first time with us, and then it was one new guy. So, and this is why I'm not too quick on new people. So, and the new guy is the reason why we got in trouble the time that we did, because for one, the police officer knew him. And when I say know him, I mean they know him. They was out there talking, giggly, and we all looking at each other like, this some shit. Ain't this some shit? Because we knew right then and there, this dude was going to get away with it. We knew right then and there, and he did. He got away with it. So, at the time, the other two dudes, they were still on probation. So we did see a judge, and this one we got hit with possession. And I'm not talking about one. I'm talking about 4. We got hit with 4 things of possession. 4 charges each of possession. And then we got hit with 2 things of intention. And then we got hit with something else. But anyways, and then the other 2 got hit with probations and a lot of other stuff. So that's when the judge said he gave us our sentence, and I knew right then and there that my whole life was changing. I knew that my parents had to know what was going on at this time. I knew that my godfather was going to be so disappointed, because at the time, I really wasn't talking to them at the time. I was just trying to do my own thing. And then I feel like that's what I messed up at, trying to be so independent and not trying to listen to what people tell me. And I think that's what the moral of this story is. Always listen to what people tell you. Always go with your first mind, because I feel like if I just did what my right hand said and just drove around or just chill for the day, then I wouldn't have got arrested. But just because I listened to what other people say, I wanted to make more money, I was greedy, then I did the opposite. But after millions of dollars in lawyer fees, after 7, 8 court cases, 3 or 4 judges, a whole bunch of charges that was on my records. I had got a college degree. I got my high school diploma. After all of that, I now know that sometimes you can't trust everybody. Everybody is not your friend. But you always have to remember, just because you run with certain people doesn't mean you have to do what they do. So yeah, that's how I got my time in prison. And honestly, even though I don't want this to persuade anybody to actually do what I did, but I honestly feel like jail is better than prison. Because jail is basically a detention center. But when it comes to prison, you're in there with murderers, you in there with prostitutes, you in there with everybody from the streets. So when it comes to me, I felt like I wasn't the type of person who was deep in the streets. I mean, I did things that I don't speak on to this day, because I know if I did, I knew that the people that I know now would probably won't even talk to me. So that's a lifestyle I'd rather leave behind me. So yeah, and I feel like if I never tell you guys this story, then the next story times I do have, you guys will not understand that lifestyle. I must say we did cross a lot of people. We did do a lot of things that your normal person probably wouldn't do. And I feel like that's the reason why I'm so hardcore now, is because people will harm you up in that lifestyle. I feel like the only person now that I'm really soft-hearted to is the person I talk to. And I feel like that's the only reason why I'm so soft-hearted. But I can't say that I regret that lifestyle, because honestly, I miss that lifestyle. But most of you guys are asking, will I go back to that lifestyle? Probably not. Probably not, because I feel like I have a lot of stuff going for myself now, to the fact that I would never, I'm not going to say never, let's just say I would never try to go back to that lifestyle, if that makes sense. But that's all I have for you guys today. This is probably one of the longest videos, but I just want you guys to know, stick with your first mindset. Have people around you that will keep you on a narrow path. Have people around you that you trust. Because the people you don't trust will bring you down faster than anybody else. So yeah. So I'm going to end this video. You guys want to see? If you guys want more opinionated videos, you already know what you got to do. You have to go in that comment section and give me topics of what you want my opinion to be on. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, a great morning, a great week whenever you're watching this. If it's the weekend, remember, stay out of trouble. I want to see you here Monday. Bye guys.